Welcome to Infinite Heart Stories. Today we explore how a simple morning shift can completely rewrite the narrative of your life. Meet Daniel, an accountant who has everything on paper, yet wakes up every single morning feeling a crushing weight of anxiety. Before his feet even touch the floor, his hand instinctively reaches for the phone, seeking connection but finding only digital noise. He floods his brain with bad news, global crises, and angry comments, poisoning his mind before the day has truly begun. The ritual continues in the bathroom, staring at a reflection that looks back with hollowness, the spark of life entirely missing. Surrounded by millions of people on his commute, he feels completely alone, convinced that the world is a hostile and draining place. At his desk, numbers blur together. He is physically present, but mentally exhausted, dragging himself through hours of meaningless corporate obligation. He hears laughter from his colleagues and feels a spike of irritation, wondering why everyone else seems to have it so easy. Lunch break is not for rest, but for comparison. He scrolls through perfect lives online, measuring his reality against their curated highlights. Every image of success he sees acts like a small cut to his soul, deepening the belief that he is falling behind. The journey home is gray and damp. He walks with his head down, missing the beauty of the city lights around him. His sanctuary is just another prison. The clutter in his apartment mirrors the clutter in his mind, disorganized and desperately needing care. He numbs himself with mindless entertainment and processed food, trying to silence the inner voice that screams for something more meaningful. Sleep does not come easily. His mind races with worries about the future and regrets about the past, a relentless cycle. Insomnia becomes his nightly companion. He dreads the morning, knowing the loop of negativity is waiting to start all over again. Sarah, the one bright spot in his life, finally reaches her limit. She can no longer carry the burden of his darkness. The conversation is painful. She tells him that his constant negativity is draining the life out of their relationship and her soul. She leaves him with a terrifying ultimatum. Change your energy, or she walks away forever. The door closes with a final thud. For the first time, the noise stops. He sits in the silence of his apartment, realizing he has truly hit rock bottom. The next morning, the urge to scroll is there, but the fear of losing Sarah is stronger. He leaves the phone alone. He needs to escape his own head. He puts on his coat and steps out into the crisp air of the early morning. His feet lead him to the park. The world is waking up around him, but his internal vision is still clouded by habit. Then he sees him. An old man sitting perfectly still on a bench, radiating a sense of calm that seems almost otherworldly. The man is feeding the birds, moving with a slowness and grace that contrasts sharply with the chaotic rush of the city. Exhausted from his walk and his emotions, Daniel sits down. He stays at the edge, but the old man's presence is magnetic. The old man doesn't look away. He turns to Daniel with eyes that seem to read the entire story of his pain. He speaks first, his voice like gravel and honey. He asks Daniel why he carries such a heavy stone in his heart. Daniel is caught off guard. The simple question unlocks the dam, and he confesses that he feels trapped in a gray loop. The stranger listens without interrupting. He doesn't offer pity. He offers a presence that makes Daniel feel heard for the first time. Then comes the pivotal question. The old man asks, "Tell me, son, what is the very first thing you do when you wake?" Daniel admits he grabs his phone. He tells him about the news, the emails, the social media, the immediate injection of stress. The old man smiles, sadly. "You are drinking poison," he says, "and then wondering why you feel sick for the rest of the day." He paints a picture. Imagine your mind is a garden. Right now you are watering the weeds of anxiety every single morning. When you look for problems first thing, you are planting seeds of fear. And whatever you plant, you will surely harvest by noon. But the soil doesn't care what you plant. If you choose to plant gratitude, flowers will grow just as easily as the weeds. Daniel listens. It sounds too simple to be true, yet he cannot deny the logic. He has been an active gardener of his misery. The old man proposes a challenge. Give me 5 minutes of your morning for 30 days, and I promise your life will change. With nothing left to lose and a relationship on the line, Daniel accepts. He decides to trust this stranger's wisdom. The rules are strict. No phone. You must use a physical pen and paper. You must connect your hand to your heart. Write down 3 specific things you are grateful for. Not general things, but specific, small details from your immediate reality. You cannot just write them. You must feel them. Let the emotion of thankfulness wash over you for just a few seconds. It can be the smell of your coffee, the warmth of your blanket, or the fact that your lungs are breathing without effort. This trains your brain's filter. When you start the day looking for the good, you will continue to see the good all day. Daniel stands up. He doesn't have a miracle yet, but he has a map. He leaves the park with a mission. On the way home, he stops at a shop. He buys a simple notebook, the tool that will become his anchor. He places the notebook on his nightstand, covering his phone. A physical barrier between his old habits and his new intention. Day 1. It feels awkward and forced. His mind wants to complain, but he forces his hand to write 3 simple sentences. He writes about the roof, his food, his bed. Basic survival. It doesn't feel magical yet, but he did the work. By day 3, the resistance lessens slightly. He doesn't have to fight his brain as hard to find 3 positive things. Day 7 brings a shift. During the day, he starts scanning his environment for material to write down the next morning. He notices the security guard's smile. He notices the taste of his lunch. He is collecting moments like precious gems. 2 weeks in, the dread upon waking is fading. He reaches for the notebook not out of duty, but out of desire. The pages are filling up. His brain is rewiring itself, becoming efficient at spotting beauty instead of scanning for danger. Day 21. Sarah calls. She hears the difference in his voice immediately, the lightness, the absence of the usual heavy cynicism. His outer world begins to match his inner world. He cleans his home, letting the light in, reclaiming his space from the shadows. The walk to the park is no longer gray. He sees the vibrant green of the leaves and the deep blue of the sky. The garden of his mind has transformed. The weeds of anxiety are choked out by the blooming flowers of appreciation. Day 30. The challenge is complete, but the habit is formed. Daniel realizes he hasn't just survived the month, he has lived it. He looks back at his entries. He realizes how rich his life actually is, full of small miracles he used to ignore. He returns to the park, needing to share this victory. He finds the old man on the same bench, feeding the same birds. There are no grand speeches needed. Daniel simply says, "Thank you." The change in his energy says everything else that needs to be said. Elias nods. Happiness is not something you find, my son. It is something you practice. You have learned how to see. Later, he meets Sarah. She doesn't see the man she left. She sees a man who has finally woken up to life. The accounting work hasn't changed, but Daniel has. He brings light into the office instead of absorbing the darkness around him. And the most beautiful part? He begins to pass it on. He becomes the gardener for others, sharing the seeds of gratitude. The practice continues. Some days are still hard, but now he has a shield. He knows how to protect his peace. We cannot always change our circumstances, but we can always change our focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Thank you for watching Infinite Heart Stories. Start your gratitude practice today and watch your world change. Subscribe for more wisdom.